Okay, what's up? So, quick updates on ES futures. So, basically, I've just refined my top level here. So, your key levels don't necessarily have to be set in stone. Well, they need to follow they need to follow a repeatable process. Oh, excuse me, late night last night. Your key levels don't have to follow a repeat. They do have to follow a repeatable process, but they don't have to be exactly down to the point the same as mine. However, if your key levels are roughly the same as mine, then you can kind of enter with more ease that you're going to be going in the right direction. That's the only point I wanted to make there. Now, in terms of key levels, let me just go straight to ATAS and break it down. So if we go to the ATAS platform, or more importantly, footprint charts, which is something everyone needs, here is the key level on ES. This is now 68, 62 to 66. A bit of a thin level. Now I'm going to break down why this is a level on the 5-minute chart. Now, if we just take a look at this level from was it Friday the 10th? Yeah, Friday the 10th. Now, if you look at Friday the 10th, right, what do you see? Look at that. Look at that, right? So when you're forming key levels, do not try and draw a line without backing it up. That's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in the trading space, is that people will draw lines, trend lines, support resistance, they'll draw random boxes, random rectangles, they'll take out random indicators, they'll do random this, random that, random this, and they have no clue how to back it up. You Is it raining? You need to get your strategy. Get in the bin. Like, literally, get in the bin. Right? Cannot, if you don't have the humility to back your trading up with how the markets work, then what are you doing? So I recently made a reel about this, and I was talking about how the failure rate in trading is so high. Right? It's like a 90% failure rate or whatever. No, it's not. Because 90% of people who are trading aren't actually trading. They're gambling. They're guessing. They're going off dopamine. They're learning. They're learning. you know, like get in the bin. Like, if you don't want to take this seriously, and then the amount of traders will say, "Oh, there's lots of different ways to trade." Well, yeah, but like, you can't apply all 50 of them, or all 40, or all 10. Like, you got to pick a strategy. And the problem is, out of the 50 and that you've seen, let's say you know 50. First of all, if you know 50, this is one reason why traders fail, because they can never pick one. But before they even pick one, they don't know how to actually pick. It's just, don't get me started on this, but let's just get back to the technicals. So, if you've got a level here, right? The reason this is a level, now I want you to understand this. I'm going to get one of my frameworks out so you can help, so people can look at this in detail. So, let me get one of my frameworks. Okay, so here. Okay, so the trap framework, right? Trapped traders being rejected and absorbed. So let's go to the footprint charts. Now, on the footprint charts, what do we see? We see a ton of red delta. Now, when you see red delta inside of a candle, what that means is there were tons of sell orders resting there. Now, when there's tons of sell orders, what you want to understand here is these sellers here were in huge amounts of quantities. Here, here, and here. So between 68, 68 and 68, 62, all these sellers were unable to break below the level. So we know in this area there were passive buyers present, and we know by definition, because we gapped when we broke the level, right? So this is a very clear identification of buyers in control. And then break, retest, sellers in control. Because over here the buyers were aggressive and they failed. Over here the sellers were aggressive and they failed. So when we go back to the candlesticks, right, which don't give you any indication at all, what you can see here is this, right? What you see here is you see sellers, right, which failed. So buyers were in control. Then over here sellers were in control. So this is what we call a flip zone, right? This is a flip zone. A flip zone is a very powerful key level, and if you can understand where these are on the charts, you will 10x your win rate with 10 times the ease and 10x the enjoyment, because you're no longer guessing. You're actually reading the markets. It took me years to realize this, but the market is a game of planning, reading, and reacting. So it's about performing a ritual, then reading, and then reacting, right? Simple. And when you do this, you can have peace of mind of waiting, because unless we get to one of our levels, so this is now 1, this is 2, unless we get to our levels, I'm not interested in trading here, right? So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. So basically this. So there we go. Where are we? Okay, so looking pretty choppy today. So this is Luca. I'll reply to, so keep looking at key level 2. I will be around for the next 1 hour or so to take the breakout. So this is my advice to Luca, and it's my advice to everyone, right? So we are still at 10:30 a.m. EST. Okay, we still have, probably in my estimation, anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes. And I want, there we go. So this is what I call a classic kind of level orb breakout. So what we're seeing over here is we saw orb, right? So this was the opening range breakout right here, first 15 minutes. So notice how the orb doesn't mean much to us unless we have order flow, unless we have levels, unless we have an actual game plan of where we think the markets are going to go. So what I'm looking for now is a break and retest. So I'm looking for a break and retest from here. So I want to see price come in. I want to see price break. I want to see price come down. Then I want to see price target the red line. So what's special about this red line? So what's special